Welcome to Prunership Diaries. Today we have with us Bilv Watwe, who is a creative pruner who has a small ceramic studio based in Bangalore called Studio Rawa. It started out as a hobby of his father decades ago, and now they sell products globally. They also sell kitchenware exclusively with National Geographic in the United States of America, and also sell few products to a few quaint cafes in Australia. And now, currently, during the pandemic, they've started a new venture where they sell ceramic handmade succulent planters all over India. And their mission to strive to create eco friendly, handcrafted ceramics using only non toxic materials as they seek to empower the people in the neighborhood. Welcome to my show, Bill. So glad to talk to you on your interesting succulent story. Should I say right out of the planter?
It's just my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here. Happy you have me, and I'm what do you say? More than excited to see how it goes.
Absolutely. I'm also looking forward to this amazing conversation out here, to the interesting things that you're doing. Right. So, without further ado, let's get started. Um, I think in our prior conversation, you had mentioned that you graduated as an interior designer, like your father and brother. So, what triggered you to take on the entrepreneurial bug? When did that happen?
It was what do you say? Like an uh, moment of clarity
Mm-hmm.
because I've been seeing my dad since childhood, and I've been aspiring to be a designer. So
Right.
it's like in my blood, because you've been like created for that in a way. Because if you're born into a wrestler's family, then wrestling is all on your mind. You don't want to do anything but that, and you want to
Right.
prove it to your dad that hey, all you've taught me has been worth it, your time, effort, and I will carry on your mission. Is what every son will want inherently. So I wanted to be an interior designer, an architect, and try to be as good as my dad first, and hopefully reach that and have time to improve and take it a little bit ahead what he aspired. But more that I saw of him, the more that I saw of him as a professional
Mm-hmm.
and how he was treated and how he is treated. That is not him, but how a professional is treated because he has a really good knack on uh, because he's worked with politicians and really challenging people.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets the respect out of them instantly. So I mean, there's so much to learn on a daily basis still. But what I'm saying is a professional is never respected in our country and doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon. So if I
Mm-hmm.
have to put my blood, sweat, and tears to be a professional, it didn't make any sense. So I just started observing what do successful people like big success, what do they start with,
Mm-hmm.
and how do they become a success?
Mm-hmm.
So the story seems to be same, hard work, all that stuff which everyone knows. But you gotta have an eye, a knack, edge over everyone else. So where can I get that? So I started doing a lot of introspecting,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that the product market, merchandise,
Mm-hmm.
will never go out of fashion. You
Right.
just got to catch the right one.
Mm-hmm.
If you get, say, a fidget spinner, it's killer, but for 3 months.
Yes.
So you got to find out what you want to do. So I never planned it out to start ceramics or succulents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my dad wanted to shut down the ceramic studio because it wasn't doing that well. Like, hey, I have a lot of time and the studio is in my house. So why not try to work out something for my pleasure, not professionally? Because I'm an interior designer, I'm aspiring to be an architect.
Right.
So one thing led to another. I spent a lot of time with ceramics,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I realized that a designer doesn't have to be a professional.
Yeah.
So that's when it opened my mind to other things. So I started playing with clay,
Right.
and what me, everyone needs is serenity, sanctity, a little bit of closure, a little bit of safety, and a lot of freedom.
Right.
So I seem to have got that from clay.
Right.
but financial independence is something else. So then you got to work towards that. So this is my basic idea why I went into why I stayed as an artist, but I moved away from a professional artist.
Right.
So
Right.
I hope that answered your question vaguely.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think I also want to ask you. I remember you telling about this interesting venture that you first started with respect to the sunglasses.
Yeah.
So could you tell us that? I mean, I think I found it very interesting. I'm sure the listeners out here will of course find it interesting as to how you started it all.
Yeah, I would love to share. It's a slightly embarrassing story, but it's a it's how your journey starts. So you can't choose that. Hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. These are my fears. These are my strengths.
Absolutely.
You get what you get, and you got to take it and own it.
Right.
So I wanted to buy a motorcycle and start racing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad obviously bought me a bike long back.
Right.
So I had an Enfield, which is a nice sturdy bike, but I want something fast.
Right.
So obviously no parents going to support you and say, hey, take this bike and go and try kill yourself every day.
Right.
So my dad is like, get your priorities right. You need to get yourself an office or get into my office or start thinking about that. Stop thinking about bikes.
Mm.
Like I'm thinking about that on my day.
Mm-hmm.
The night I want the bike so that next day I get out.
Right.
So there was a lot of argument,
Mm-hmm.
and what I realized is that he's not going to help me anymore because that would be spoon feeding. That was his point. That enough
Yeah.
is enough. What do you want? You need to start achieving.
Right.
So I didn't want to break my head and do like the things that you have to do as an architect. That is digital drawings, and you become a laborer in the architectural field,
Uh-huh.
but you get paid very well. So I didn't want to do that. So I'm like I aspire to be stylish. So I started looking at the things that I love.
Right.
So I like shades, I like rings, I like clothes. So clothes I couldn't get into because I'll get eaten up. Jewelry I wanted to, but I need a little bit more capita to start. So I wanted some gold jewelry with some semi-precious stones. So like okay later. Shades there was a really big market for counterfeit shades
Mm-hmm.
because people love a good deal in India.
Right.
So they want a good deal and look good. So every time a movie came out from say Telugu Mahesh Babu to say I don't even know Ritik Roshan or whoever was there at that time,
Yes.
they send me a photo and like Billy, I need this.
Mm.
So I started helping them out get that.
Right.
So that's how shades started. I was like, hey, everyone wants shades and everyone's asking, why don't I sell some shades? So I discovered how much I needed per month for the
Right.
EMI for the bike. It's around 4,000. So I sold very nicely in a week for 4,000. So I got my EMI sorted. And then rest of the month I could just play around and what I call mall money. Just some money on the side for your
Right.
shopping. So that's how the shade started. That's where I learned a lot about sales and marketing.
Right. Right.
And then I was in the stall one day. My dad used to put stalls in Chitragala Parishad.
Mm.
So I was just there, and my friend also was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just standing and observing because that's what I do. I'm like, I want all the information that I need.
Right.
My friend was there and he was very upset. He's like, hey, you can't stand here. You need to sell to everyone who walks past the stall,
Right.
which at that time was very insulting. I was like, there's no ways I'm going to be like,
Mm.
ow, 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 bunny, 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 bunny. I didn't do that, but you have to do that as classy as you can.
Right.
And that's how this ceramic started because I realized that, hey, the ROI, return on investment, that
Mm-hmm.
is time,
Mm-hmm.
in ceramics is way better than shades.
Right.
And shades, I can't sleep well at night because I'm selling counterfeit products. So it never sat well with me, but I got my KDM. I got into racing.
Wow.
We are like top three in India. So
Oh.
I don't look back at it as a bad thing.
Uh-huh.
It helped me start the fire.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, very little things, simple things that we need, and we would want to, probably outsource it or get it done. And I think a business can be started anywhere as long as you have the intent and you want to. you just need to figure out, okay, where you want to take it up to. And so glad that, with at least that simple or a very small or a short stint of a business got you started with the entrepreneurship aspect. So glad for that. And
Yeah, same here.
that's wonderful. And you did tell us about how you got the idea of moving on to the entrepreneurial space, pertaining to the ceramic business, or the hobby, should I say, which your father had started. So could you tell us more about Studio Rava and the interesting story behind the name Rava? And what do you do? I mean, if for all the listeners out there who want to, or probably still wondering, okay, what is Studio Rava? So could you please share what you do?
Certainly. Rawa is Raja Watwe. That's my dad's name. So the first
Okay,
two letters of his first name, first two letters of his last name.
right,
So Rawa, the R-A-W-A.
got it.
So the ceramic studio, my dad started very similar to what I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause he was I mean, similar in some ways, obviously not the same. He's a really, like, he was established architect in South India and a couple of Middle Eastern countries.
Right.
So he needed something else. He didn't get that satisfaction, is what we look for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he started dabbling into art.
Right.
He really liked glass blowing
Hmm.
at that time, and I still think maybe even now
Mm-hmm.
there are less than three people who do really good glass blowing in India.
Right.
So he contacted them, and there were a lot of bad experiences, people stealing the money and
Right.
fraudulent behavior, which is all understandable.
Mm-hmm.
So he realized that this glass blowing, unless he goes outside India, it's not going to work out.
Right.
So he started looking at other things too, like what else does he like?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I don't understand why, because still doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
He started getting into ceramics. That is not stoneware ceramics as the clay, but how to make a glaze, which I have proof that I passed my 10th standard. That much chemistry I know. Apart from that, I can't to save my life also. So
Wow.
he's my dad, so he's going to. I mean, I'm similar to him. So hats off to him to put in the time and effort to understand what a glaze means and how to
Mm-hmm.
create a glaze. Because
Right.
again, there are less than five people in India who make their own glaze to date.
Right.
So that's still a commendable thing, and we're creating new stuff every day. The
Wow.
glazes has no cap. You can really go wild. But only thing we're limiting ourselves is we're making sure that it, like you mentioned, it's toxin free. It's all
Wow.
food grade stuff.
Yes.
So that limits the vibrancy. If you put lead, the vibrancy is beautiful, like all the kurja stuff. They don't. Nobody talks about this, but it is poisonous. So yeah,
Hmm.
my dad does it for himself, for a guilt-free sleep at night. So we do it, and it's like picked up because of the stalls. A lot of
Right.
like Fab India, Shopper Stop, National Geographic have
Wow.
found us.
Wow.
So what I would advise, I'm sorry I kind of stretch this answer.
Sure.
What I would advise to anyone is put your head down, choose one thing, and don't let go. Because I'm selling succulents around India. I'm selling a lot of succulents this year, especially. I
Right.
do not have any love for gardening, and I have no knowledge about gardening before last year.
Hmm.
But I am one of very few people who maintain succulents the way I do, because that's getting the true color of the succulent out. Where
Yes.
people are still finding it difficult to keep a succulent alive for more than 3 days.
Right.
So there's a lot of scope if you put your head down and take things seriously
Right.
in a place where you have no edge.
Hmm. All right.
I hope I got my communicated my thoughts.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And yes, now we do know what a Studio Rava is all about and what you're doing with it. Could you talk about the journey of finding markets for your products across the world? Because I know you had mentioned about Novika. To all the listeners out there, Novika is a e-commerce website, that enables artisans to sell their handcrafted goods to customers worldwide. So, Studio Rawa also sell their products worldwide through Novica, which they have partnered with Nat Geo and a few other organizations as well. So yes, Bill, if you could tell us, like, how did you go about finding these markets?
Uh, that's the little, what do you say, odd part.
Mm-hmm.
How
Mm-hmm.
I found it is you create this space.
Right.
So what I do is, I like right now also, I don't need to tell you that I am one of the three people who stress the succulent.
Mm.
But that's my brand.
Right.
I'm going to keep rubbing in everyone's face that I have something that you don't have, she doesn't have, he doesn't have.
Right.
I have it,
Mm-hmm.
and I have put my blood, sweat, and tears into this,
Right.
and this is the best
Mm.
because
Mm.
whatever. So that gets through. Your message gets through to the upper echelon, and they contact you.
Right.
Because if you go, I've tried going behind. Please, I'm Bilv from Studio Rawa. Can
Ah.
you give us a chance? No,
Mm.
you have to be very certain of what you're doing.
Right.
And I don't know about the language, but if you don't mind me saying, you have to be a little cocky.
Mm.
Confident is nice, but that edge you got to have if you want to
True.
make it in this world,
Right.
or else you will be eaten alive.
Right. Absolutely. No, I totally resonate with you because I think at the end of the day, you need to be confident or you need to be clear about what your business is all about, be it either a product or a service. If you know what you're doing and if you know why you're putting out, such and such a product or a service to the customers out there, and I think that's the best part, right? If you have an authentic business right from the start, rather than jumping and running about the numbers, the targets and everything. Of course, all of that will come any which ways later on. But I think the main basic foundation, as you mentioned, is just get it right, be what you are, put it out there.
Be
Yeah.
confident, a little more than confident. I don't know
Yes.
the right word to. Otherwise, that's why I use that
Assertive.
word.
Assertive in whatever that you're doing, and put it
It's
out. Yeah.
it's a confident with an edge.
Got it.
Because let's just use an example. The succulents are being sold. I'm just using like for 100 rupees. Let's say I will
Absolutely.
sell the same succulent for 1,000,
Mm.
and I will not justify myself because they're
Mm.
looking for that. They'll be like, "Hey, I get this for 100."
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I put the
Yeah.
pressure on them. Like, so they're like, "Why is yours 1,000?"
Yes.
Because it's
Yeah.
that good. So then
I
they're
know.
intrigued. They're like, "Man, this guy is full of nonsense, or he's good." So it's a 50-50. 50%
Right.
says that this guy is a millennial, or he's got his head stuck, or else they'll be like, "Hey, let's give him a chance." No, and if they give me
Right.
one chance, that's all I need.
Right.
I make sure I deliver. That's very
Super.
important. Like you say, the numbers, the speed, the service, very, 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 very important. More important than other things. But if you know and you have that down, then that edge
Mm.
with a confidence with an edge will come out.
True. True.
And you
Absolutely.
gotta lie a little bit because you have this weakness, you have that weakness. They don't need to know that. You're striving to get better every day. They need to know
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah. And even if you do not know about it, you can always say, "I will work on it and I'll get back to you." I think that's a more good
Yes.
way of saying for yourself, because you're going to learn at the end of the day, and they're also going to get
Yes.
what they have asked for. So yeah, why not?
And yeah, and one more thing, when I just it's sparked,
Yes.
never say no to a customer.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are old school things. So if
Uh
you're
huh.
dealing with baby bloomers, never say no to them. If you're dealing with millennials, you could start with a no. If you know what you're doing,
Right. No, totally get you. Oh.
and it's worked. I start with a no maybe about 10 times a week.
Oh wow.
It works.
The art of saying no. I think we all, I think
Yes.
pruners out there, irrespective of being entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, I think the art of saying no, I think we need to learn it.
It, it's very hard for me because I'm a very sensitive guy and I do not like hurting feelings. Like if a cop catches me on the road and I'm fuming, I still make sure I'm respectful and he is happy.
Right.
I don't know why I should make an effort to make him happy,
Hmm.
But if someone's dealing with me, they need to be happy at the end of the conversation or something. So for me to start with a no, it's taken me a lot of effort and it still eats me up. But it is
Yes.
what it is. If you don't adapt, you will die.
Absolutely, absolutely. True. All right. So moving on, I mean, you've spoken about succulents, so I want to get into the interesting part as to, I mean, when did this start? I know you had mentioned you started during the pandemic. So could you tell us more how you got into this? And yeah, I
So
mean, want the story?
um, I wanted to, what do you say, advertise, throw in a thing for my
Mm-hmm.
friend who's also a solopreneur. I would like
Right.
to first shout, take shots at him and then say how nice he is. me
Sure.
me and him in Jan before the lockdown and all last year, we
Mm-hmm.
decided to get into succulents because I
Right.
was catering to, like you said, the dinnerware, the serveware,
Mm-hmm.
but we had no planters.
Mm.
And I have these really just sharing. I have these really old, not so good looking cups that we put aside because the design is boring.
Right.
What I did
Mm-hmm.
is that cup, let's say I'm selling for $100.
Mm-hmm.
If you put a hole in that, it becomes $250. So I was intrigued about this whole planter market. I was like, oh,
Right.
you can take a really boring design, put a hole in it, and it becomes extremely attractive. So I was just curious. And my
Mm.
friend is like, hey, why don't we start succulents? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a weird word. What is that?
Oh, wow.
So he introduced me to succulents, which were very boring. I was like, hey, what is this? It looks cool, why don't we just ask somebody to make it with polymer clay, or I'll make these succulents in clay, we'll
Right.
glaze them,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll last forever. What is the deal with the exotic plants? So he's like, man, you will never understand it, so leave it. You make your planters, you're a designer. I'll get the gardening sorted.
Right.
So we both went, and for some reason he didn't pay for the thing because he didn't have the cash flow at the time because he's doing other stuff. So he's like, hey, can you pay for it? I was
Right.
like, sure, because we are partners. In the end of the day, we are starting a new business. I was like, yeah, of course. So we bought like 200, 300. I don't even know how many succulents,
Mm.
and we got it to my place because we have the studio in my terrace.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lockdown started, and at that time we were worried about, will humanity survive? We were very confused at that time.
Right.
So we didn't think about these succulents, but we had a lot of time at hand.
Right.
So I was like, hey, let's find out everything that I can about succulents because the money that we invested
Right.
is not right because I didn't care about succulents at that time.
Exactly.
Then I started one thing led to another. Oh my god, these things are extremely beautiful. Every day starts with it. Every day almost ends with the succulent now
Wow.
since February last year.
Mm.
And I'm very happy. I'm not still a gardening guy. I don't know anything about plants,
Right.
but I put my head down and I learned everything that I need to know about succulents, and I do that till today because, like last night, there's something new about succulents. There's something new about whatever you want every day. If you are,
Right.
if you're listening, or else you know
Yes.
everything. You know everything. You're never going to learn. So
Mm.
that's how the succulent started. That I was like, hey, I always want to learn and improve the set of skills that I have. I have designing, but I don't know anything about the succulents. And my friend is rubbing in
Right.
my face that you're the designer, you do that, I'll take care of the succulents. So I'm like, what is, I mean, what's the big deal? Let me take a couple of
Right.
succulents. So just sort of spite, I started this, and I'm enjoying my life now. So now he's an interior designer, and I'm selling succulents around India. So that's how succulents started.
Super. Super.
Did
Amazing.
I answer your
So,
question?
yes,
Okay,
I did
please.
get what you said. I want to know, like, so how can people get in touch with you, like, with respect to the succulents? Is it something like they reach out to you on an Instagram page, and I want such and such a succulent, and I also want a planter with it, which is of course the ceramic made. So how do you go about this? If you could let us know?
Correct. I didn't answer your previous question correctly, according to me. You said, how do I catch the my clients? I mean,
Yes.
you asked me much better. My English is off. Let me just answer
We're
that
good.
quickly, short, and then
Yes.
come to your next question. uh, how do you catch your clients? How do you reach your target customer?
Right.
Uh, if you ask me, I don't know, but
Wow.
you try. So
Yes.
I see what others are doing. I try that.
Mm-hmm.
I come up with ideas that, hey, why don't I do something ridiculous like this? I
Yeah.
try that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've contacted like Bollywood celebrities, to influencers who do gardening, to just cute girls. Like, hey, just say, they spend so much effort and time to create that brand of theirs on Instagram.
Right. Yes.
The all the selfies. I mean, I will not like take one selfie to save my life.
Right.
Cannot. It's just
Yeah.
atrocious, my skills. Whereas they're so good. So I was like, hey, why not just throw in a planter in one of those photographs? It increases their whole identity also. Instead of just looking hot, they look like they care for the environment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've tried very different things which sound very stupid at the start, and
Right.
some still sound stupid once I finish with it. So I don't repeat it.
Yeah.
So you just try different things, and you you do stuff that people don't do, because if everyone's already doing it, what are you going to do and get? So
Yes.
just try
Yes.
different things. You try like Facebook. I don't use Facebook
Right. Right.
because there's no point using Facebook. I try to
Yeah.
use Instagram, but then I went and I posted something in Facebook. It works. So I'm like, oh, I'm not against Facebook. It
Yes.
just didn't work when I did,
Right.
and now it's working.
Right.
So there's so many different ways you can get your clients.
Mm-hmm.
But what one mistake I did in the start is, I have a lot of like in Bangalore, you have a lot of friends. Probably almost everyone in Bangalore some or the other way. So I always try to milk my
Mm-hmm.
contacts,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a good thing, I would say, because it does not reward you with anything. You make a
Mm.
lot of money initially,
Yeah.
but it doesn't help.
Mm.
So how I've been more successful is just putting the like your name out there. So
Right.
whatever you can do to get to people,
Mm-hmm.
you have Google Analytics, you have Facebook, you have all this information.
Right.
You understand it and you reach the target audience through hook or by crook.
Yeah.
You understand what gets their attention and you reach them. That's the best way I can explain, because I'm still understanding it.
Absolutely. Sorry to interrupt you. So, social media marketing is worth it. I mean, we just need to know how to. I mean, which platform? Because as you mentioned, it could do well on Facebook or it could do well on Instagram. It's only like we getting our product or service out there, putting it out there. It could be on any platform, but of course, with respect to the analytics and with respect to how the target audience is responding, then of course we know which is the platform that we need to focus on.
Exactly.
Right? Am I right? Is that what you were trying to say?
Perfect. Because I have
Super.
epoxy
Right.
and I have gardening.
Mm.
Ceramics comes with gardening. Epoxy drive like chase away my clients, because epoxy is a plastic. End of the day,
Right.
the niche market understands epoxy, but overall the world look at it as plastic. So I put epoxy stuff in my ceramic Instagram. I lost a lot of clients.
I know. Yeah.
In lockdown, I tried to crack some jokes and have some aliases. I lost a lot of clients.
Mm.
I got a whole new page from it and whatever. But you got to understand what the client wants. Like a DJ, a DJ
Right.
doesn't play the music that he likes.
Hmm.
DJ plays the music for the audience.
Hmm.
They might not know what they like also sometimes,
Right.
but he can feel that,
Hmm.
and how better he can feel that is how good he is. So you got to understand what the market needs.
Absolutely.
Succulents was the need of the hour because lockdown made us feel miserable locked up in a house. You have a small apartment and
Yeah.
you do not have fauna in it.
Right.
Sorry, flora in it. So what I did was I put small succulents and I gave it to. I reached people who could not get succulents reached to them. High quality
Absolutely.
ones, quickly,
Right.
and nothing. Packaging is premium packaging, so they really got like impressed, and
Right.
it worked out.
Super. All right.
Do you want me to answer your
Yep.
other question?
Yes. Yes, please.
I'll try to keep this much shorter. If you want to buy succulents, you can come to Blue Guap. If you're looking for just succulents, you want the best price, you want the best quality, Blue Guap's your one-stop shop. If you're looking for something that is like premium succulents, rare succulents, or you want ceramic planters, you want custom ceramic planters, you want one ceramic planters that do not exist anywhere but in your hands, then you come to Studio Rawa, where we cater to the more niche market, people who appreciate art. Whereas people who appreciate gardening come to Blue Ball.
Amazing. That was like to the point and to
Quick
the
and short.
point. Yes, yes, absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Well, another, I just want to know, or probably to the listeners who want to know, are you the single man handling all of this, or do you have a team who's helping you out with, putting across the succulents or nurturing them? And also for the ceramic part, the Studio Rava, do you have someone doing out the what do you say, the ceramics? I'm sorry, I'm very bad at putting the technical words, but with respect
No, no,
to
that's
the I don't know, pottery, or I'm sorry, I leave
yeah.
it to you to
Pottery
explain.
Studio,
But
Ceramic
yes,
Studio.
yes. So yeah, do you have
I can.
someone who does that for you, or do you do it all? Yeah.
I would like to start this answer by saying that not a big fan of people who say that they're a self-made man, because the shirt that I'm wearing have about 100 people behind it. So
I
no, I'm not
know.
alone.
Yes.
Everyone in my life helped me uh, by just being there. Also, by not being there at sometimes, some of them really helped me.
Hmm.
So no, I'm not alone. I have everyone's love and support. But if you want a brass tack, then yeah, it's just me. And if on paper you can say he's my dad's staff, but I call him my uncle because I've grown up with him. He's been working in our house,
Yes.
so I would just say living together. So it's
Wow.
just me and him. My dad is the top brass who uh, the recipes I call them for
Mm-hmm.
glazes.
Mm-hmm.
The clay recipe, that's it's all proprietary stuff.
Right.
So all that's the brains behind the operation is my dad. But my dad is more he's moved away from it.
Right.
So he's always there whenever I need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's just me and Mr. Nagraj.
Ah, wow, wonderful. And with the succulents part of it, is it all you?
Succulents again, it's all me again. But I have a nursery behind me. I have about 15 to 20 nurseries behind me.
Wow.
So that's how many people behind me.
Right.
But if you see, again, brass tacks, no, I'm alone. I have the succulents with me. No one else takes care of the succulents but me.
Right.
But then my dog doesn't eat the succulents, so he's taking care of the succulents. So if everyone's with me, but it's me alone. And the packaging, my watchman, whenever he's free, I just like, hey, come here. And me and him package the stuff
Oh wow.
because it gets a little freaky in the weekends because there are a lot of orders.
Absolutely. Amazing. Love the way you put it all.
Oh, that's a relief.
All right. Okay. All right. I have an interesting question for you. So
Shoot.
with each of your ventures, you learn the trade by self-learning. How does that feel? And do you think people should indulge in learning as many skills as possible rather than sticking to one? So what are your thoughts on this? Firstly, how do you
Okay.
feel?
Mm, uh, Self learning is looked at very differently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of being taught. So, self learning is not an option, it's the only option.
Right.
So, how do I feel about it? If I had a couple of options, I would have felt better. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a relief once you learn something, so that's always a good thing.
Yes.
Mm, your second question, can you please just repeat that?
Yeah, not a problem. So do you think people should indulge in learning as many skills as possible rather than sticking to one?
Uh, I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it. If you go to a war,
Mm-hmm.
if you have one axe,
Yeah.
you're limiting yourself. that's like a way of explaining myself. Let me just put it. I
Yes.
mean, explain myself because it's slightly vague. The life that you live in daily, it's a fight. You have to fight for everything. You can
Mm-hmm.
say that no, yeah, that's delusion.
Right.
You have to earn everything that you get. The air that you
Mm-hmm.
breathe in, also you're earning. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
didn't fight for it. Maybe our fighters fought for it, but it is earned. And when you don't earn it, you are, my English is bad. Opposite of evolution. You
Right.
are against humanity and evolution.
Yes.
So once
Yes.
you realize that every day you have to earn something and you're in a battle,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't want one axe. You want a couple of axes. You want a couple of bows. You want as many
True.
skills as you can. If you can see
Absolutely.
into the future, that wouldn't hurt. That's not a tool, but it is a tool. So it's how you see it. If you're happy with one trick and you're really good at it, okay, you have to answer to yourself. Once you're on your deathbed, you
Right.
answer yourself. You don't answer to anyone else. So
Absolutely.
you can be like not getting that thing, the jack of all trades or king of
Master
one,
of none. Yeah. Jack of all trades
master
and
of none.
master of none. Yeah.
So mine is jack of all trade. You can be, or you can be a king of one. Whatever end of the day you feel that'll help
Yes.
you survive.
Right.
So there's no like no. I think everyone should learn more skills. No, it's your calling. You got to know what's best for you.
Right.
But all I'm saying, it won't hurt to learn a couple of skills.
Oh, yes.
Like
Yes.
learn a magic trick also. Like why would I learn a magic trick? You'd be surprised what all things you learn from learning a
Yes.
magic trick. Not the magic trick, just the
Right.
concepts, the so many things. You stay with an open mind, you can't help but learn.
Absolutely. Yes. And yeah, I resonate with what you said that it's okay. I mean, if it's one skill, well and good if you're happy with it, but there's no
Get
harm.
really good at it.
There's no harm in, taking on more skills. You're just, more prepared to take on the challenges of life. And you're just acing it with more skills.
It's, yeah, that's how you can look at it. But
Yeah.
there's no right and wrong. So I'm
True.
not
True.
saying that hey, this guy doesn't have many skills, he's
Yeah.
wrong, and I have two skills more than him. Doesn't make me better.
Absolutely.
Each war is
Perfect.
different. You need to understand it.
Great, lovely. So, Bill, what do you feel, at this moment when you look back at the times when you were just figuring out, what you wanted to do, to stick to, the professional aspect, or wanting to take on something with respect to an entrepreneurial venture, and all the phases that you have, taken with respect to each of the ventures, be it be Studio Rava or Blue Qua. So what do you feel at this moment? Like, what are you going through at this point in time where you have these two ventures going on? What do you think?
It's hard to say
Mm-hmm.
because 10 years ago, if I look at it now, I would have been disappointed because I wanted to be an architect, interior designer, and I wanted to probably this is a lady called Zaha Hadid, so I wanted to have beautiful buildings like have opportunities that Zaha Hadid had
Right.
and be in the same mention in the same dialogue as Zaha Hadid.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be very disappointed if I was 10 years back, but uh, 5 years back, if I look at it,
Yes.
or maybe even 20 years back, I would be very, I wouldn't say very happy,
Mm-hmm.
but I would be pleased because there are things that I like, there are things I don't like. And the
Mm-hmm.
things that I like on my plate are more than the things that I don't like.
Right.
So, like I said, it's the war. So, I'm fighting my war, and right now I'm pretty loaded with tools.
Mm.
So I'm look at it that it's nice, but I'm not delusional saying that hey I can do a lot better, and I don't. I mean I'm aspiring to do a lot better, so I'm not
Yes.
happy, but I'm
Yes.
pleased.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a journey. Yeah.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Perfectly said.
Lovely. Okay. So, what are your future plans with the ventures? Where do you want to go ahead with these?
Uh, like I said, that word what did I edge the confidence with an
Uh huh.
edge.
Uh huh.
So you got to be a little bit of that. So what I have is that I want a succulent on every balcony in India.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that's my goal for Blue Guap.
Super.
It's just sharing love. It's not like uh, I have a chocolate that I want every kid to eat. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm like, hey, this was a burden on me in January, and it was love in February. So the succulents.
Yes.
In January, I
Yes.
was so angry that my friend had just offloaded all these succulents. I couldn't pronounce it then.
Right.
So and now I'm blessed with them. So I don't know it's a perspective.
Right.
I see it like this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's lovely. It's a lovely thought when you say that you want to spread the love through the succulents of yours. It's so beautiful because with the times that we're in now, pertaining to the pandemic and what's happening with the world around, I think having a garden per se, a balcony, or it could be at the terrace, or it could be in your own room. I mean, a small space where you have the small succulents growing. I think. I think it acts, I mean, it works well for your mental well being. I mean, for anyone for that matter. And for the times that we're in now, I think it's at most, I mean, mental well being is crucial and it should be the priority of anyone. So it's a lovely thought when you said that, you want to spread that love through the succulent. So yeah,
I just
beautiful.
wanted to add some. I really appreciate you appreciating it.
Pleasure.
Uh, the thing is, when my friend got the succulents,
Hmm.
I had a lot of excuses against the succulents.
Ah,
The daily excuse that I get from my friends,
right.
because I try to push the succulents to them,
Hmm.
because if they kill a succulent,
Right.
the information that I get on why they killed it is unpalpable. So
Yeah.
I keep trying to push it to them
Right.
because they're like my guinea pigs, I call them, and they're cool with it.
Right.
So, what the number one excuse is, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Second is, I don't know how to take care of it.
Mm.
So that's why I'm like, all this will not work with me. If somebody says they don't have time, I'm like, hey, I have about 20 to 30 succulents. I watered once in the 1.5 year. In 1.5 year, I watered it once or twice.
Wow.
So I'm sure you have enough time to water it once in 1.5 year.
I know.
Like no, I don't get sunlight in my house. I have lights that you can put in your corner, CFL bulbs or whatever you want, depending on your budget and your requirements. Like, hey, I want some crazy succulents. Then
Right.
you need crazy lights.
Right.
I want a simple succulent. Okay, you get a simple light then. So I I've tried to eradicate any excuses that I can think of
Wow.
that I gave myself or I get from my friends. So that will help share the love a little bit more, because if you ask me to maintain like the background behind me, these plants that I love, I can't. I'll kill them in 3 days. So whereas succulents,
Yes.
I in Blue Guap it's a subsidiary, so I can't be that flamboyant.
Right.
But in Studio Rawa, I challenge my clients. I'm like, hey, take this, kill it, and show me. You can't, and I'll
Amazing.
replace it if you kill it, because you can't kill it.
Right.
It's like that much confidence. So people get that. Okay, I'll take one succulent.
Yes.
I killed maybe 20 succulents, but with Billy, I'll take one succulent, and I guarantee that it will not die.
Right.
I'm here with you. Let's see how it dies. So it's a long journey. It's going to be, but I'm going to get there sooner or later.
Super. And I'm sure you will. And that's a wonderful journey.
Thank you.
Right. So considering, I mean, we're talking about the pandemic. So I want to
Hmm.
know, I know you started Blue Guap in the pandemic itself. But I want to know, how has it been with respect to your business? I mean, both in a positive or negative way. Are there more customers coming out to you in the pandemic? I also want to ask because packaging them and sending it across, I mean, probably it could be in the city or another state, or of course around the world, because you do have customers out there. So how has it been? Difficult, or have you found out a way?
I don't know if I found a way. I think God's always been kind to me,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it's always been easy.
Right. Right.
So the pandemic's been a blessing.
Hmm.
The start of it, like everyone, I started finding it difficult. That is not the business, but the whole life
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, which everyone went through.
Right.
So the business really helped me get my focus back.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not going to try the conventional ways. So what we did is we realized. I mean, when I say we, I'm just being like me, but we.
Yeah.
What we realized is that Dunzo
Mm-hmm.
is allowed to travel across Bangalore.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
People in Bangalore are frustrated and irritated like me. Like they are in outside Bangalore. I'm just staying because I was really worried when the pandemic happened. What do I do?
Right.
So I was like, hey, there's Dunzo.
Yes.
The people who are in a funk,
Mm-hmm.
get your planters to them.
Right.
So it worked out. It worked out just flawlessly. I mean, there was no gap. I mean, I made a new business venture. That's how good the business was.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's just a, what do you say, boon, a blessing in disguise, if you see it like that. Or else I could have sat and cried. The world is so bad.
Right.
The masks are this, the cops are that. They are. And that's
Right.
what makes the world a nice place overall. If you didn't have the bads, the good wouldn't be this good.
True. True. Right. Super. All right. We come to the last question. Um,
Whoa.
no, there's a small section after that as well, but yeah. All right. Also, I mean, yeah, we are talking about the pandemic, and we have spoken that yes, well-being is of the utmost importance for every one of us. So, I want to know what is your well-being routine like, and what do you indulge in apart from all of this, or do you feel that being with the succulents is therapeutic enough?
Actually is because I'll answer your question, but yeah, it is very therapeutic because I got really frustrated sometimes. You know how the orders, the clients, they get to you sometimes. You just need a
Yes.
break and you'll be refreshed. So I took a
Right.
break for 2 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I do in this break? I went back to succulents, but for me. But yeah, it's that's how nice it is. I started like that succulent. I'm not going to sell to anyone. Let me plant it in that planter and then keep it over there, which is really stupid if I look at it now. But at that time, I was so excited, and that's what I needed on a day off. The
Right.
positive emotions flowing so that you get recharged. Okay, let me come back to the question that you asked.
Yes.
My daily routine or anything. There's So let me just put it this way. What I realized is I'm not a computer gamer and stuff like that. Like a lot of my friends play video games a lot.
Right.
So I dabble in it once in a while. And whenever I play video games, I really enjoy. I'm really bad at it, but I really enjoy.
Right.
So one of the off days, I was playing the video game, and I particularly had a very nice day. So I was
Hmm.
like, what made this day nice? It was
Yeah.
pretty normal, and I played this video game, and I'm just sitting at home. There's nothing nice. But what I realized is why video games are so addictive is
Mm-hmm.
they put a mission in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
and once you complete it, it's an achievement,
Right.
and you subconsciously think you have achieved something.
Right.
So that's what I started doing. I looked at my business in a way I use it as therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That is the succulents or sharing love. Like I say, you have your motto, you have your mission, and you strive towards it. So
Mm-hmm.
one step closer, one step closer. It's nice. But also from the video games, I realized that hey, you need to realize that you do something, you've achieved something,
Right.
or you failed at achieve something.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to tell yourself that.
Yes.
'Cause you'll be surprised the amount of things you achieve
Mm-hmm.
that you do not give yourself credit for. Till somebody else like, oh wow, you've done this. Like, yeah, I did it. So, no, you did that. Take a second and appreciate yourself however you want to with a smile.
Yes.
So that's what I realized, and that's what helps me stay a little bit more sane in the pandemic because
Right.
it's hard. I'm sure it's hard for everyone.
Perfect. I mean, I resonate with you. I think at the point that, yes, I've done so much, and whatever it is, it could be a project that you finished, or it could be a probably a small
Yes, yes.
part or a level, maybe in the video game levels. Um,
Exactly. It means nothing to you, but
yes.
you feel nice.
Yes, and yeah, we need to pat ourselves, with whatever accomplishment. It could be in a day or a two, or it could be a week. We need to take it. I mean, we cannot. I mean, I don't think we need to expect it from others. If it comes our way, well and good. But I think we need to acknowledge and take credit at times that yes, I wanted to do this and I did this. So yeah, good.
Or I wanted to do it and I failed miserably.
Yeah, that
You
also.
see how the fire light inside.
Oh yes.
It's very nice.
Oh
It
yes.
sounds bad, sounds harsh, but it's tough love. Tough love is not bad.
Absolutely. All right. I mean, wonderful. Lastly, I do have a section which is called as the Preneur Spotlight section. So I'm going to run you through 5 questions. So I'm going to ask questions on the professional or the personal level, and you got to answer to me in a word or two, or a couple of sentences. So I totally leave it up to you. So are you
Okay,
ready?
but spotlights don't work well with my bald head. Be careful.
Oh wow, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Super. Okay, my first question is, I think I already know the answer to it, but nevertheless, what is your ikigai? Ikigai is nothing but the reason for your being. So, what is that one thing that you would do on any given day, no matter what is happening around the world?
Okay, now it's going to sound cheesy, but love. I just, I'm a loving guy. I share love. I take love.
Yeah.
What love related activities?
Wow, which is everything.
Sounds
I
horrible.
mean, with the succulents, with life. Yeah.
It's not, it's everything because you're that type of a person. I wasn't like this. I might not be like this,
Right.
but this is something that I feel
Mm-hmm.
that I am.
Mm.
So it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
And I don't do it. It just, I start getting frustrated. I get pent up. I start getting like worked up.
Right.
So I just go and, like you say, sit with the succulent, sit with my dog, sit with my mom, dad, and just sit there.
Mm.
And then you get that your inner self starts talking to you, and you do stuff that means something.
Right. Absolutely. Super.
Yeah. Okay. Second question.
Yes, the second question. Any person who inspires you, or you can also talk about any book which has inspired you. So you can talk about both or any.
I think March 2005 was the last time I touched a book because I passed my board exams. No, I'm not a much of a reader, but
Right.
a lot of people do inspire me.
Yes.
But at the moment, I'm not sure how many of the listeners probably think so. I'll give two people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Please.
if they want to check and get inspired by the same person or understand why and how this person inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
First is there's a bike racer, obviously, because bikes makes sense.
Right.
So his name is Valentino Rossi.
Okay.
So everyone probably heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
So he really aspires me because uh, I mean, he's the best of the best, and he has hurdles. So just to see, because I exaggerate, but I'm not really exaggerating. I think they're God. They're not human beings,
Mm-hmm.
because at that level, human beings cannot perform.
Mm-hmm.
I know I sound delusional. So if a God is met with a hurdle,
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's just a moment. It's a special moment, and how the God reacts to that.
Right. Mm.
Like there's another person who I really found very upsetting because he used to upset my god, Valentino. But recently my respect and my aspiration has gone sky high for him.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Again, now it's vague how I'm answering, but he like I said, if you are at the top level of any performance thing and you've been doing this and you're just really good,
Mm.
you're just a little bit better than any human being because your calling, your thing, it's slightly higher. That's why I say God. So if a god can bleed,
Right.
that's a, that was a very big moment in my life when I saw one of the gods bleed. He didn't bleed. He just had a small, uh, what do you say? He had a tear in his eye, a corner of his
Oh,
eye.
right.
But for that god, I've just his name is Mark Marquez.
Oh,
So if Mark Marquez can shed a tear,
right.
it just I don't know how to explain it, but that's what inspires me because rest of the time they're gods,
Mm,
but they are human beings when you see them in difficult situations. So nothing inspires me more than them striving and being the best every day because the amount of hurdles they face
mm.
is unimaginable compared to what hurdles I could face or have faced. So that just keeps me going no matter what.
Wow. Amazing.
And another one to make it a little less
Mhm.
racer is Zaha Hadid.
Ah,
We'll keep that shorter.
yeah.
Whoever is listening and interested can type Zaha Hadid.
Hmm.
She is a lady architect,
Hmm.
and her work will just speak for itself. Just take at least an hour before typing Zaha Hadid because that hour is gone. You're just going to be baffled.
Right.
But the amount of work she's done and how she's achieved whatever she's achieved can't help but inspire anyone who sees it.
Mm,
So these are my top mentionables
yes.
who keep me going. Whenever I'm down, I just go there and I have goosebumps.
Wow. Lovely. Lovely. All right. Okay.
Third question.
Third question, interesting one.
Ready?
Hypothetically, if you turn out to be the richest person in the world tomorrow, what would you like to do? Or would you continue to do what you're already doing?
So again, now I'll sound very pretentious, but no, I'll be doing whatever I'm doing in a better car, better shirt,
Yeah.
better zip code, maybe the same zip code because I really like my dad's house. But yeah, it would be very similar to what I'm doing at the moment
Super. Super. Amazing. All right.
because that's what I sat and I started talking to myself in the pandemic
Ah,
or before the pandemic
wow.
because uh, businesses come and go. What do you want to do? And the business will work around that.
Yes.
And that's how Blue Warp everything is formed because you'll be surprised the amount of time I actually work and the things that I do by not moving
Mm-hmm.
and cater to across India, which no one believed that I would do. They're like, you need to come out of your house.
Right.
I have over three businesses that I do from my garden.
Wow.
So never doubt yourself. Understand what you need, understand what you want, and the universe, if you ask for it, it'll work around it. Work.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. The universe, I think it just clears out the way. Whatever you set it, I did set your heart on, I think it will surely help you. Yeah. I think
But you
once
gotta
you,
be true to yourself. Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
want like a Lamborghini from a long time. The universe isn't helping.
In time, in time. Divine timing.
They stopped producing it also. Second hand. I have not lost hope.
Lovely. Amazing. All right. Fourth question. Could you tell us about any interesting order for a ceramic product or an interesting order for a succulent? It could be any.
Mm,
Interesting. Something out of the blue.
depends because interesting for me would be exclusive because that's what
Yeah.
I strive for.
Right.
So something that's really exclusive and stuff like that, like wow, tell me more. What is this? Why is it so exclusive? How did it get exclusive? So
Yeah.
those type of orders, which is my third company, which I have not really uh, plugged in the podcast, is what we do. My surname is Watwe. So
Yes.
I do stuff. So what we do, what we do.
Oh,
So
super.
that thank you. So there I make stuff purely for myself. I do not answer. I do not cater. I do not have any restrictions on myself. I do this genuinely at that time when I'm doing it. I think that I'm the best of the best and my work is a blessing. You got to get delusional when you're an artist. If you start thinking that if you have one like a 0.1% doubt, your work is going to be affected by it. So
Mm.
the more grandeur you're thinking when you're working, once you finish working, come back to reality, be humble. But when you're
Right.
designing, you got to be grand. You got to. There are many processes. Like
Mm.
uh, for one project, for like just to give you an idea, for one project, I did not have a bath for like 3 days
Mm.
because that helped me get into the zone. I listened to some heavy metal music. I don't listen
Right.
to heavy metal music. I listen to jazz music. So
Right.
I started talking to myself, and these are the things that my self told me that hey, because I wanted to have a bath because I was sitting. I darkened the room. I made it all because I was like, I do not care about my well-being. I have to design for the client. This is an
Right.
architecture project that I'm referring to. So
Yes.
that really created some, oh god, some beautiful work of art.
Mm.
We did not show it to the client because for other reasons, but that
Yes.
what I created, uh, like my brother says, a part of my soul is in that project. So these are the interesting projects where you put yourself in the right situation, and
Mm.
a part of your soul is in that project. Like any A.R. Rahman song that
Yes.
you listen to, you stop and you listen to because he's put his heart and soul into it. And when he hasn't, you know immediately.
True. True.
So the stuff that he's won awards for, I don't know if he's put his heart and soul. But the stuff that he's done in the 90s, goosebumps again.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
any of my orders, to make it short and answer, any of my orders in what we do have been always so crazy. Like I can probably reschedule a whole podcast and talk about one order like that.
Oh wow.
'Cause it's really nice. It's something different.
Super. Super amazing. All right. The fifth question.
Oh yeah, let's go.
What is your definition of success?
If you can sit by yourself in silence,
Mhm.
you're successful.
Oh my God. Lovely. I love that answer.
So that's always it. I can't sit silently because I'm not successful in my head.
Mm.
So if you're sitting silently, you're getting more ideas. You're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Whereas on a successful day, you should just see me. I'm like a Zen guy, like
Right.
so happy. People are pissing me off, throwing egg on my face. I'm just so cool. So I think successful guys or successful women or successful being successful is serenity and being cool with yourself or one with
Yes.
yourself, something like that.
Yes.
That's why I just said if you can sit in silence, you know you're successful.
I'm with you on that. I mean, that is well said. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Lastly, what is one key takeaway that you want to give the audience? Any last few words or tips or lessons or insights to the new pruners who want to take on this journey of entrepreneurship, or anyone who is already doing it but who wants to take it to the next level? So, what would you like to say to them? Anything at all?
Uh, because of my baldness, I might look older, but I'm not that mature to give advice to other people. I am trying to advise myself and get advice from everyone. So no, I do not have a advice for anyone that I think they expect. But of
Right.
course, I can tell you the things that you shouldn't do because I did it and it burned my fingers doing
Absolutely.
it.
Your learnings, yes.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
learnings, just sharing my
Yeah.
learnings. I'm not advising anyone.
Yes, please.
Mm, one would be excuses. Just don't do that. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It it just kills you. It's just killing you, your image in somebody's head. It's all of it.
Mm.
So don't resort to any excuse at any time.
Mm.
And then these are a little bit more odd, but sorry and thank you. don't say it. Say it if you have to, but understand the point behind it, because most of us keep saying sorry too many times.
Mm,
If you're apologizing to them or apologizing to yourself, you need to stop.
right.
And if you're not apologizing yourself, and it's apologizing because, like, for interiors, for example, I designed this wall, but the
Right.
cement guys ruined it. I have to apologize for the client.
Yes.
So if you're cool with it, you do it. I wasn't cool with it, so I will not do it. So I have to understand that that again is an
Mm-hmm.
excuse because I'm limiting myself.
Right.
But I look at it that if I'm limiting myself, I have to work harder.
Mm,
So I don't. I'm an entrepreneur or whatever, quotes and quotes. I'm. I, those are big words. I feel I'm just a guy who's trying to work, but I'm not a 9 to 5 guy. I'm a 5 to 9 guy, like I say, because there is no work hours. There is no nothing.
yes.
I have a mission, and every day I get up, that mission is not complete, and only I can complete that mission.
Right.
So I feel excuses. Oh, second point I forgot, and the third point. These are the three things. If you keep check, you can't not be successful.
Super. Super. Thank you for those few words.
Thanks for having me,
Oh,
and I
yes,
hope
my
I can help
pleasure.
somebody because I was lost, and I'm less lost. I'm not like a messiah or anything, but I'm way better than how I was last year,
Right.
and that's just through determination and not resorting to my weaknesses.
Lovely. Beautiful. Well said. So, Bill, how can anyone reach out to you? Yeah, and if you could let us know again about the Instagram pages, the names, I'll be sure to put up
Yeah.
in the episode description as well.
That would help because the spellings and all, I'm only bad at spellings. So, Blue Guap is a proprietary name. Luckily, I came up with that quotes and quotes. So,
Right.
Blue is blue, Guap is GWOP, Rawa is studio, Rawa RAWA,
Right.
and what we do, I think, better is a link or WAT, what, like the SMS spelling, what we do is one word. Again, you shouldn't have any problem finding any of these Instagram handles because they're kind of exclusive names.
Yes.
And just ask for me, ask for Billy, and I'll take it from there. Whatever you need, it's done.
Super, super. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
shall, again, as I mentioned, I shall leave these links in the episode description. And it has been an amazing conversation with you. I would say it's been fun filled as well.
Definitely here.
And I'm so honored to have you on my show on such a
Well,
short notice. And thanks for sharing your journey with all of us. It's been such an interesting conversation which I have had, learning about succulents, ceramics, and a whole lot of things. So thank you for being on my show.
I don't know how to react because there's too many thank yous. I don't know what I did. I just chatted with a friend. So it was completely my pleasure.
Super.
Completely my pleasure. Thank you
Oh,
for having me, and really appreciate what you're doing. I stumbled by your page because you contacted me, and I went through a lot of those entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, solopreneurs. There's so many cool people with cool name. I'm like, what do I look at? It's so distracting. So I really appreciate your effort. Don't stop. If you're looking for other people, you know that Bangalore's filled with it. There's so many people doing so many beautiful things every day. So I'm glad you're sharing their stories because their stories will not get out there that easily.
yes. Yes. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. It was a lovely conversation with you.